In today's lesson I'll do a demonstration of the main blocks used in processes modeling. We'll approach again the block form and introduce two more concepts in this block. That's a form template. We'll introduce as well a table field, that's like the name says, a table. On the other lessons we already had approached this functional block, the form block. And we spoke as well about other fields like header, text boxes, lists and links. We'll approach as well the condition that we have spoken on the last lesson. We'll intro the bean shell, that's a tool used to input to Java code as well to our process. We'll use validation that was used in a previous video that speaks about variables and the variables validation. We'll use as well this new block, the assignment, that's used to associate values to variables. To demonstrate these blocks in operation, I built a process that registers all the prime numbers that the user knows. So, what does the user has to do? The user has to insert a number in a text box. This number will be tested by the system with the bin shell block, and if it is a prime number the system registers in a table that's the prime number table that the user knows. So how did I start to modeling this process? First I came to our variable catalog and added 4 variables. The first variable is a list of prime nums that will be inserted in the table. I added as well a variable button action that's used to register the action that the user performed, because the user can choose to end the process or test his prime number. The number that's inserted by the user will be tested and validated if it's a prime number or not. Or after I dragged to our design area the block assignment to initiate the variable validation false. This block could not be here but I used it because we haven't spoke about it yet on the other lessons. This block is frequently used and it's very useful when we don't want to use the bean shell block and we want to use only a variables association block. Then I drag the form block to present the form to user. This block uses a template that has 2 buttons, the test button, used to test the number that we introduce, if it's a prime number or not. And the finish button to close the process. These 2 buttons are custom type. We can customize our buttons, we can add text and the tooltip and associate to our variable button action the finish value. This is used further for us to know in the condition what's the value of this action button variable and take an action. Or closing in finish case or do the test if it's not finish. In the template block, we have a group of fields that will be shown in our form. These template blocks are often used when we want to use the same set of fields in different forms. After I added a functional block called condition that we already approached on previous videos. What this block does is to check if the variable button action is equal to finish. So, but what does it mean? It means that this is equal to finish the used clicked in the finish button, and then the button action variable will associate the finish value. If the button condition action is equal to finish, it will leave the process. In the opposite case, it will be done the number test. The other value that it has will be test, because user only can click in two buttons, test and finish button. After, I drag to the design area the bean shell block. This is the block that will do the test if the number that the user introduced is a prime number or not. To that I won't explain the code because it's basic Java code, and the person that designed the block needs to have some knowledge about Java. I would like to explain that when we want to use some process variables, we have to introduce always an underscore character before the variable, because this allows the system to understand if we are using a process variable or a variable from bin shell block. For example, here we use a Boolean type variable that's isPrime, which is a value of true or false only used inside bin shell. In this way we don't have to use the underscore character because it's not a process variable. After I inputted a validation block to my design area, this block will validate if this variable validation is false, if it's an error condition. If the validation is equal to false, the system will show a message in the form block. This variable is used as well in the block bin shell. In this block, if the number is not prime, the validation will have the value false. If the number is prime, the validation will have the value true, as we can see here. Finally, I uploaded my process in the system, becoming available for use. I will then demonstrate the process occurring. So I go to the dashboard, click on the demonstration process. That was the process I was using and have used in all the videos, so is already configured with users and profiles necessary and with permissions. I'll click in the demonstration process and then wheel it of box here. I will test such a number that is not prime, the number 4. The process was executed, went to bin shell, tested if it's a prime number, it wasn't, and associated to the variable validation the value false. After the validation was verified and it's false, as a variable is false, is shown an error message. If we add a prime number, the flow will add the number that I introduce in the prime number tail that I know. This is a basic test of the functional blocks that I have shown here. I think that this exercise approached all the blocks that I intend to present in this demonstration. With this exercise, the complexity of the lessons was increased. If you have any doubt, please don't hesitate to email us.